what's great is that with a platform like ClassChat, the instructor is able to provide oversight into the experience and create new learning activities in which AI is a fundamental part of that experience. And we never would have been able to do that without that kind of a technology at our fingertips.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to this special episode of Beyond the Byte. I'm your host, Mo Hafez, and we're here at the AI Plus Expo. And I'm here joined by Dominic Slauson of the University of California, Irvine.
Yes, sir.
And we had a great conversation you're presenting here, actually. And it's very interesting to see what you are doing with AI. You are the generative AI expert at UCI.
Well, I mean, I'll say that we have a lot of experts on our team, but I serve as a specialist for the team, doing a lot of outreach across the campus, helping to upskill our community on the use of generative AI and our tool, our in-house platform that we have, ZotGPT.
ZotGPT, and this was the tool that actually was very interesting, got me very excited. You guys were demoing it at the booth. I found it fascinating because it's a unique usage of AI in that a lot of universities are building AI labs, and they are, starting to realize that we need to get students to use this tool correctly. But how do we do that? How do we get them to not just go to ChatGPT so that they do their homework on ChatGPT? And at the same time, teachers on the other side, and as an educator myself, I've seen this, are saying, well, how do I adapt to this technology? How do I bring it into my classroom? How do I inform my students about how to use it? And I found ZotGPT to be a solution that seems to address those concerns quite well. So I wanted to really dive in about the ZotGPT with you, and learn from your experience about how this is working for University of California at Irvine.
Yeah, so it was a couple of years ago that we made the decision to first deploy ZotGPT on campus, initially to just faculty and staff. And then later, we deployed to students as well. And the reason was that, when generative AI really hit the scene, when it hit the mainstream, there was a recognition that this was something that could not be ignored, that this was going to have a tremendous impact on society in general, certainly within teaching and learning. So we knew that this technology wasn't going away. And we thought to ourselves, if our students are able to access these technologies through these various third-party sites, why not make that available in-house, provide it in a secure manner, and also provide the guidance and the education that comes with that access? So we made that available. It's now ZotGPT. It's available for all faculty, staff, and students. It's made available at no expense to them. And with the way we've designed it, we allow for different AI models to be piped in. So we have access to the latest models from OpenAI, from Anthropic, from Mistral. And so it provides a tremendous value. But I would say that, going along with that access has been a couple of very important things. One has been the education.
Yes.
Trying to foster the AI literacy on campus and help guide, an understanding of what are these tools capable of. Also, going along with that is engagement. We have to engage with the different stakeholders on our campus, give them the opportunity to share their concerns, their excitement, and really empower the innovators that we have on campus 100%. So as to do the work that they do and really foster that engagement with the tools, the technology, so as to help prepare those students that come to our institution for their future.
Phenomenal. And that's the point. I mean, that is the number one purpose of the higher education institutions, is to prepare their students for the coming jobs, right?
Yep.
And address that gap ahead of time. And I think this is one of the reasons why universities right now are in a bit of a precarious position, because not all of them are doing what UCI is doing. Not all of them are leading the conversation of AI. Right. They're in many ways responding, but some universities are starting to see the writing on the wall and realizing we need to adopt this, and
Yeah.
we need to figure out the best way to adopt it. And of course, the best way to adopt it is still very much debatable and still very much wild, wild west.
Yeah.
And I think obviously it starts with building your own model internal that becomes part of the community. But one thing I did want to explore with you about ZotGPT that I found interesting is that it wasn't just a platform that allowed your students and teachers to experiment with different AI models in a controlled environment, in a closed environment, in a trusted environment, I want to say.
Yeah.
But also the way it integrated with some of your with the actual classrooms themselves.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because I think what you guys are doing with that is really fascinating.
Yeah. So in engaging with our faculty, one of the things that we heard was that, these models provide a lot of potential for instruction, but wouldn't it be nice if we could ground the way in which they interact in the curriculum that's being taught? And so after we rolled out our initial chatbot, we started to explore this potential of creating a more curated experience for the classroom. And that's where we developed ClassChat. So ClassChat it's under the ZotGPT umbrella. It's one of the services we provide. And the basic premise of it is that an instructor can create a custom chatbot. They can define its behavior. So they can tell it, what role is it going to fulfill? Is it going to be there just to do Q&A with the students, be a Socratic tutor, help with quizzing or case studies or whatever it may be? And then the faculty are actually able to put their curriculum into the chatbot. And the chatbot will actually use that curriculum as a point of reference when the students engage with it.
About this.
Exactly. And so it really helps to contextualize the experience, and it provides a whole new means of facilitating learning. And one of the things that I love about this is, there's all those concerns out there about academic integrity. How do we facilitate learning in the age of AI, where we have this technology that's a shortcut to critical thinking? What's great is that with a platform like ClassChat, the instructor is able to provide oversight into the experience and create new learning activities in which AI is a fundamental part of that experience. And we never would have been able to do that without that kind of a technology at our fingertips.
Amazing, Dominic. I mean, you're talking about teaching the new human-machine collaboration skills and doing it in a way that it fosters critical thinking. And that's it. I mean, this is what it's all about, because whether we like it or not, students out there and teachers are using generative AI, but they're using it in a very unstructured way. It's not well integrated. And so the use cases are as varied as as the assignments, so to speak. Whereas by incorporating it from the beginning, right, so this AI first mentality, understanding that this tool is out there and it exists and students are using it, whether you like it or not, teachers are using it, whether you like it or not. But now you guide its usage through ZotGPT while also gaining valuable experience and learning. And I think that this is has been an experiment for you guys, right? I mean, how old is ZotGPT at this point?
Let's see. We first deployed it to faculty and staff in November of 2023.
Okay.
And then we made it available for students in April of 2024. So,
amazing. And so now it's been in full production for about a year.
Yeah, I mean, and we're constantly adding to it. Initially when we released, it was just a chat bot. But since then, we've added the ClassChat capability. Just last month, we launched ZotGPT Creator, which provides our staff a means of developing custom chatbot for productivity purposes. We have the API that's available. That's especially important for our researchers who want to leverage that API. And there's plenty of other projects that we're exploring. We really want to build out an ecosystem of tools that our community can leverage.
I think you're building out that ecosystem, and I commend you for it. What has been the reception so far? I mean, especially now that you've actually had a year's worth of feedback, I suppose, and usage. You've seen how its usage has been. What has been the feedback like?
Well, I mean, a really critical part about this has been engagement with our community. So as to hear, what is the interest out there? What are the concerns? How do we address them? And I would say that by and large, folks have been very optimistic about, bringing that in a controlled environment. I mean, one of the concerns that we were addressing right off the bat was the fact that we knew these third-party providers were there.
Yeah.
And if we didn't provide a convenient means of accessing this, then folks would just go elsewhere. And I think a lot of folks recognize that.
Yeah.
So making that available in-house, one of the great values of ZotGPT is that it operates on servers that are secure servers. They work within our security policies, which in addition to providing peace of mind, I mean, it opens up more use cases and that you can work with, proprietary information and do so in a safe environment. So that helps to get a lot of buy-in from folks seeing that value was there. So, I think, folks are in different places when it comes to their comfort level, when it comes to generative AI, and that's okay.
Yeah.
We're not here to dictate what, an instructor should do with AI or a researcher should do with AI. Instead, we see it as an obligation to make the technology available and then provide them the guidance and what it can do, how you can use it, and then empower our folks to share their experiences, share your success stories, share your struggles and your concerns. I think that's the only pathway forward in really leveraging this technology in an effective manner.
Phenomenal. And I see that you've made the tool available. Talk to me a little bit about how you have provided the guidance, right? So obviously you've put the tool out there, which is wonderful, which means, and by doing that, you've already encouraged experimentation and all of that. But I'm sure that there is going to be, I'm sure you've dealt with a cohort of people or folks even at the university who are perhaps still like, I don't know how to use this thing, or I know, or I'm worried about using it. How have you driven the other half of it, which is adoption?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not just one thing. So we launched our ZotGPT Academy last year, which provides a series of e-learning modules that's very on-demand learning for our folks to kind of upskill and get up to speed on the capabilities of generative AI and how to utilize it.
Yeah.
We provide trainings to different groups and departments on campus. We meet people where they're at. One of the things that I've found really important is you have to contextualize the training. You have to make sure it resonates with who you're talking to, where they're at, the work they do. That's critical.
That's it.
And we also have, programs on campus. We do hackathons for our students to get in there and explore the possibilities of generative AI. We have the past few months, we've had an innovation ambassador program for our faculty and staff in which they get to explore the potential of leveraging technology like generative AI to change the way that to do the work that they do.
Yeah.
And it's just a variety of different methods of outreach, and that's the engagement piece.
Yeah.
And there's lots of conversations going on campus that don't necessarily involve my team, and I think that's great. I think it's good to have conversations amongst peers and really welcome that kind of a dialogue in small groups, and then bringing that together as a whole campus community.
This is again a phenomenal effort, phenomenal project. I commend you on it so far, and it's still new. Going back a little, how did this start? In other words, this is an initiative. And you mentioned that you saw the writing on the wall as a university that, hey, this is something we need to figure out. This initiative had to start with a team or some internal buy-in already. Yeah. Talk to us a little bit about that.
I mean, I think it was organic in some ways. We definitely had, when ChatGPT 3.5 first hit the scene and everyone realized, okay, this is a game changer. We had conversations that just organically started across the campus. Different groups that were talking about, what does this mean for the work that we do? How do we leverage this? There was a lot of trepidation early on. But then we got a lot of support from up top. Our Vice Chancellor of OIT, Tom Andriola, he saw it as a priority for us to make this technology available. He believes firmly in equitable access for this kind of technology, because he understood the importance this had for our students' future. And so having that support from the top was really critical. And then between that and then those organic conversations, with folks across campus, it culminated in, forming a really small but capable team to start to develop this solution. And we are a small team, but we've got some really talented people who are able to help make this all a reality. And we're just getting started.
No, that's awesome, Dominic. And I can say personally, and based on what I've seen, that it's a really mature product. I want to say, or it's a mature program. I lecture at Johns Hopkins, and I think that there's a lot of different universities are at different levels in the AI journey, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think that you guys are really kind of pushing forward and pushing the boundaries and doing so, if I may, with responsible AI in mind, and transparency and community across the board. I mean, you guys embody a whole lot of ethical principles with what you're doing, which I really appreciate. What would your advice be to other, higher education institutions right now? And I know, look, you guys have your own strategy, and that's great.
Yeah.
But based on being in that space, how do you see, what do you think other universities need to be doing right now in order to adapt to the coming times?
So I think like you just mentioned there. I mean, every institution is going to be different, and each institution needs to think about what is a means of approaching this topic that makes sense to them. But it's a number of things. Number one, you can't dismiss yourself from the conversation anymore. AI is here. It's been here for a while, and it's not going away. A scholar that I really like to follow, Ethan Mollick, he often says that the AI that you use today is the worst AI that you will ever use.
Yeah.
It's only going to get better. Yeah. So given that, and given the capability that we've seen, it's important that we start engaging now. And so given that fact, I think what it means is, start having the conversation amongst your community and engage everybody.
Yeah.
This is the utilization of AI in higher education is not something that you can relegate to the IT department. My team, we are under the umbrella of OIT, but we do outreach across the campus, and we engage with people across the campus, and that has to happen. AI is too influential of a technology to be relegated to any one group. So giving the space to have those conversations, and then I think it's also critical to, you have to figure out your access, right? You have to figure out what kind of an AI solution makes sense. Obviously, there's a bit of a financial investment involved with doing that. The path that we chose may not be the path that other people choose, and that's fine. But once you get the access, then you need to foster the experimentation and the exploration. You have to give folks the chance to try things, to make it a safe space. Avoid making AI this taboo thing that you try to hide your usage of AI.
Right.
That's just not. It's not productive, And
it's not transparent, and it also it doesn't help with trust.
Yeah.
And you really want with this kind of tech, you want trust across the board. You want people to trust the tech. You want people to trust other people using the tech, and hiding it and having people go, did you use AI on this? And you're not being upfront about it. Yeah, of course. It's my research assistant. It helped all of this stuff. Be upfront with it, and that actually it's not against you to be upfront with it. If anything, I now, whenever I use assistants for anything, whether it was writing an email or working on a report, I'll be like, this was with the help of Clio, my AI assistant, which is, and so this aspect of putting it out there and being transparent is really important. And I think I love that you guys are fostering that. Those are ethical principles and a really good use of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's really critical. And I think that the more that you give folks the chance to experiment with it, the more they build up their understanding of it. And even if you have folks that are just like, I'm not so sure about this whole AI thing, that's okay. Everyone can take it at their own pace, but at least give yourself the chance to pay attention to what's happening and expose yourself to it in whatever way feels right to you. That's the path forward to me.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Dominic. It's been a phenomenal interview with you, and what you guys are doing at University of California, Irvine, I think is a model for other universities. So for the viewers, for the audience, I would take this as a good use case to carry forward in talking about your AI strategy. Thank you again for joining on Beyond the Byte. And looking forward to seeing what you guys do with ZotGPT.
Appreciate it, Mo. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, pleasure.